Hey everyone, it's Wisdom Wednesday, and that means I am on here to shuffle some cards, pull some, see what our midweek messages are, and let's get straight to it. This week, I'm just going to grab the box here. I'm going to use the Animal Allies and Gemstone Guardians. I like this deck. It's a really fun deck. It's got some amazing animals and some amazing crystals, but because it's double-sided, I have to really kind of make sure I'm not looking at it. I'm drawing cards. We don't want to be biased on what I'm pulling. So I want you to choose a number, 1, 2, or 3, whatever resonates with you, and we'll get to the reading right away. All right. If you chose number 1, the card that you guys got was Crow. And I love Crow because for me, crow is a very intelligent bird. It's one of my favorite birds, to be honest. And they're very much a connection to the divine. They're very much a connection to the spiritual other side of us. And what crow is coming in right now with the midweek messages is just to remind you about your intuition, to remind you about your spiritual side, to remind you to connect into that inner GPS. So whatever it is that you're working on, whatever it is that you're thinking about, situation you're in, sit back, hold still for a second, come to center, and just go, what do I need to know for my highest good? And see it and feel it. Use that intuition, use that inner knowing, that inner guidance, and just understand that if you can be an objective observer, the solution is going to really seamlessly sort of unfold for you. And that's one of the nice things. Also pay attention to the signs and symbols, right? Because spirit's always going to be putting those in our path to help us with that guidance. So if we can't 100% trust ourselves, we need a signier sign or something like that. Look for the signs that are being put in front of you and know that everything is going to fall into place with that spiritual guidance. Now, the stone, I'm just flipping this over here, that you got is lodestone. You can see it's not a particularly fancy stone, but what it really is good for is about tapping into the prophetic intuition. So anything that you need the guidance on, it's a very good stone that takes you to the ground, but it also takes you to the crown chakra. So it's all about really paying attention to those alerts that you're getting. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it ugly? And then acting accordingly. So focus on what you're drawing into your life. So that's what I'm going to leave with you for number 1 is crow and lodestone. Now, if you chose number 2, you guys are going to be like, what? This is your spirit animal or an animal guide? It absolutely is. Moth has some of the most magnificent messages when moth comes in. Moth is really about expanding your consciousness and having also that divine connection to the other side. You often will get moth showing themselves like when spirits are around and really wanting to connect with you and say, hey, I'm here, pay attention. Moth is also an incredible animal / insect to work with for your dreams. So as they're emerging and unfolding, ask moth to bring you guidance and intuition within those dreams, and then pay attention to the messages that you're getting. I really encourage people to have a journal next to them when they're working with moth and when they're working with a lot of dream intuition, because when you wake up first thing in the morning before conscious takes over, write down exactly what you can that you remember from the night. And you're going to find that it really kind of comes in with a lot more clarity. It really helps align you to the direction and the momentum and the movement and the place that you're going. For any sort of higher level work, self-knowledge, situational stuff, excuse me, it's going to bring clarity. So call on moth for that. Now, the stone that came up with moth is moonstone. Most people probably know moonstone like this type of stone. Moonstone is really also an incredibly high vibe stone. It lifts us up, it taps us into that intuition, into that inner knowing, but it also can help us remember our dreams. So when we're doing dream work, when we're calling on moth and doing some of that energetic work, we can call on and use the stone moonstone for bringing in clarity around that. What is it that we need to know? Where do we need to be? Where exactly are we connected within the different lunar cycles and all of that? And then let the messages come in to your dreams. Now, I want to also put the disclaimer out there that, like, if it's something horrific and nightmarish, please, that's not an intuition coming in. That's just your subconscious processing for the day. But if you can kind of get to that lucid state where you're working with the dreams and the messages and you're getting a little bit of clarity, it's a great place to be, because we're sort of in between that point of our consciousness taking over an ego trying to explain things logically, and then the spiritual part where there's no preconceived outcome. So that's where it's very exciting when we work with our dreams and when we can work with moth energy as well. So I encourage you to work with moonstone and moth to really help sort of emerge and enlighten you with what you need to know, help your consciousness get to the next level, and just work within the spirit within you. So I'm going to and your higher self. I'm going to leave that with you if that's number 2. Now, I find it interesting that all 3 cards are winged creatures. If you chose number 3, you got bat. And I love bats. I actually donate to a bat rescue because I just think these are such incredible creatures, especially fruit bats. They look like little dogs with wings. They're so cute. Bat is really about going within. So bat comes in right now and says, hey, it's time to just stop worrying about all the influences outside of you and go within, because you have all the answers within you. So just as bat sort of surrounds himself with their wings and goes into caves to sleep at night, this is spirit's way of sort of reminding you to tap into your own divine connection, to work with your higher self, and to just really focus on that transformation, that power of being able to sit still and what emerges and evolves from it. What's the next steps? When you can sit still and you can have your higher self and your spirit guides come in and bring some of those answers and ask bat to help bring that clarity, you're going to find that you're going to be much more grounded, more in tuned to the universe and to what the next steps need to be, so that everything you can focus on is the good, the blessings that you have within your life, so that the surrounding things around you, the influences, you can take them with a bit more ease and grace, right? And it allows you to just sort of come out of that inner contemplative state where you are renewed and recharged and rejuvenated. Okay. Now, the stone with bat is galena. I do love galena. I have a piece myself. I do encourage safety when you're working with it, because it can be quite a toxic stone. But galena is fantastic for transformation. So think about it. We're going within. Often, excuse me, what we want to do is when we go within, it's because we're wanting to level up, we're wanting to enlighten ourselves, we're wanting to go to the next step of transformation. And galena is one of those stones that can bring in that transformation. It allows us to release the old that no longer serves us and make way for new beginnings, new excitement. Allows us to also observe the current situation from a different perspective. Think about bats. They're hanging upside down and they're seeing things differently, so that we can go, okay, you know what? This is the next chapter of my life. I see the situation exactly how it is. This is sort of a passage to where I'm going to be going, and that we can take on the new challenges, the new journey with a much better, more powerful personal maturity. Okay. So that is something that's really, really cool with galena, bringing in that higher level of wisdom and understanding. So work with bat and galena, and I'm going to leave that with you if you chose number 3. As always, thanks for listening. And if you enjoyed this, please give it a like below, subscribe to all of my different channels, check out my website, nancychristinebrady.com. And I look forward to seeing you all next week.